This is the Rebel Scum Podcast. Available in video on YouTube and audio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Every week, Brock and James talk the latest rumors, news, and theories from a galaxy far, far away. Support us on Patreon for exclusive offers and join the Star Wars discussion. Patreon.com/RebelScumPodcast. Here are your hosts, Brock and James.
You are always scum. Rebel scum.
James, I went to StarWars.com and I took a quiz to find out what type of Princess Leia I am.
Yes, you did.
It's pretty much exactly what you think it's like. It's like a BuzzFeed quiz where it's just like, what's your favorite color? And it's like, well, if you say gray, white, or like gold, it's like gold, or you're like Slave Leia, gray, you're Hot Leia, or white, you're New Hope Leia. I was a New Hope Leia because I am fearless, a nice dresser, and something else like ready to fight the good fight or something like that. And I was like, okay. So, breaking news, I am a New Hope Princess Leia.
I am Millie Bobby Brown Leia.
Oh, see, that would be perfect addition to a quiz because it's like, yeah, okay, I'm like, I'm Last Jedi Leia. Like, do you like old people? Oh, you're Last Jedi Leia. Like, but that would be a nice twist. Like, see, we come up with good ideas here on the Rebel Scum Podcast. I am Brock. This is
James.
And this is episode 206.
Yes, 6. 206.
Yes, yeah.
It never ends. It's like lamb chops play along. Old
it's
references.
A podcast that never ends.
It's true. People are like, how is this still going on? But we're here. We're talking.
People ask me that. It's like, how's the podcast going? I'm like, we still do it. I'm like, I don't know.
And no one has voiced a formal complaint yet. We've had several complaints, but nothing formal. If you're going to complain, you got to wear your Sunday best if you're going to complain.
Yeah, and it's Wednesday when you watch this.
Yeah. It's International Women's Day was Monday. Shout out to all the women.
Yeah. Your mom.
Did you see Burger King's tweet?
Oh, yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see it, but I heard about it while I was at work.
So everyone went nuts over Burger King, right? Like,
of course. Women,
this is not me, this is Burger King. But it was women belong in the kitchen. Now, that's terrible. but they were making a point. I don't know if you know that. They were actually trying to make a point. So they were actually, I was kind of questioning why they would do that, but then I realized, because all publicity is good publicity, and it got them trending. They were trending, and so when I saw people hating on Burger King, I was like, well, I got to see what this is about. And I looked at it, and I was like, wow. And then I said, well, there's got to be more to this. So I clicked on it, and it says, women belong in the kitchen, which was like, oh my God. But then the next one was, if they want to be. This is the next. Oh. So if they want to be. And then they go on this long spiel about how only 24% of culinary chefs are women. And so they have made a pledge to support and sponsor Burger King female employees into culinary schools if they so desire. So that was actually the point of it, was that they want to.
Is it all in the same tweet?
No. So it was like 4 tweets. So what it was women belong in the kitchen to get your attention, right? To piss you off. But they know what they're doing because they're Star Wars fans and they know that hate sells. Brock, we should title this one Kathleen Kennedy is fired and whatever. And we'll have like a lot of views. But so they did that. They got your attention. But then the rest of it, they're like, look, here's the deal. If you don't want to, don't actually, that's not true. But now that we have your attention, we want to let you know that for whatever reason, women are not professional chefs, men are, and we want to help change that if so be it. So, it was still, I still feel like they went in the wrong direction at the beginning, but their intentions were good. And, cancel Burger King, I guess.
Whatever. Like, it is funny. Like, I find like franchise restaurants seem to. I think Wendy's had a really cheeky like Twitter social media identity for a hot second. I was like, it's interesting. It's like, it's like McDonald's is like Disney, where they make a lot of mistakes, but McDonald's sort of has like, this is who we are, and we don't budge from that, even though like some weird stuff can happen. But they are like very stoic, and then like so like McDonald's would never. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure there's examples of like, oh, look at McDonald's being like quirky. That's right. But I'm not trying to put McDonald's above Burger King because it's just fast food.
Are they all made of like? They're all made of like sludge or something. It's not even. Oh, it's 100% beef, I believe. I don't even know the last time I think I had Wendy's or Burger King was Whopper Wednesday like 10 years ago, and it was like $1.20 for a Whopper, and I don't think I've been back since. I don't think I've had. I don't even know. Whatever, it is what it is. If they it was a strategy, whatever it felt. But anyway, women are wonderful, clearly, and they deserve. They're one day. Why not give them more? But one day for sure. No, they're awesome. Last year we had a bunch of females do our show for us on Women International Women's Day.
Wow.
That was a year ago.
Yeah.
It feels like 17 decades ago. But it was a year ago. So that was a lot of fun. It was a good time. I watched Solo the other day. I went on the... Yeah. When it's cold out, I go for a walk or when it's way too wet on my road, I go for walks on my treadmill. And I usually watch a movie, and I watch Solo. And it's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you notice anything different this viewing?
No. I just, every time I watch it, I think I like the look of the film. But every time I watch it, I'm like, if they just would have shot it a little less artsy, I feel like more people would have been roped in. Because, we were talking, before we started recording, we were talking about Marvel. And Marvel movies, none of them are like the most beautiful looking movies, lighting wise and camera work and all that, right? They're very like, and it's not always a bad thing. Is you don't need to distract from what's on camera. And I think that's where I'm getting at with Solo, is I think the lighting, as beautiful as I find it, I think it's distracting and not in a pleasant way for a lot of viewers. I think it is dark. I think, I think that is a real put off for a lot of the movie going public who want to go see an action adventure film like The Avengers, which is, pretty well lit.
Yeah. It is interesting. Like, I always find it weird, like when they get to, what's the planet they go to through the Kessel Run?
With the
God, what's it called? With the
Kessel? Is it Kessel?
No.
Where the heck do they go in that movie? I just watched it.
Anyways, but like they go there to get the
coaxium,
and then they break out a whole bunch of Wookiees, and but like it's weird because like you see Chewie, no problem, but like you never get a tight shot of the other Wookiees, which is bizarre. Because like the one that I think Anthony Daniels portrays in that, Chewie like interacts with quite a bit. He looks weird. He or she, I can't remember what gender the Wookiee was. Like they look weird, and you never get a clear so that's what I think when you mention like lighting, which like that one wasn't a dark scene per se, but like yeah, it's interesting. I had an interesting conversation with my colleague Steve Bagazzoli. Shout outs, Bags for Life. About he just watched The New Hope recently, and he had like a Mandela effect where the scene where they're in the trash compactor, he remembered that as a kid as like you see the creature closely that like, and you see like Luke fight him underwater. Like he had that as a childhood memory that happened, to the point that when he watches, like, wait, when did that happen? And I'm like, no, that never happens.
I'm pretty sure he played that in the playground.
I was like, interesting. Like I can see that, like especially with when you watch that movie as a kid, you're like, wow.
Yeah, it was probably something that he imagined, and it just became a memory. I'm pretty sure 90% of my memories are that, because I remember a lot of things. I'm like, do I actually? That's, why wouldn't George Lucas put that in the special edition?
Yeah.
Yeah, George Lucas.
Yeah, I love it. I even said to him, it's like, that's what I love about that scene. It's like the first example in like Star Wars where she's like, this is an example of like, they were just kind of figuring stuff out. It's like, why is there, I know they've explained why there's like a sea monster in the trash compactor, but like, it's like, they don't need that monster to be there, because like seconds after like they rescue Luke from it, the walls start closing. And I'm like, that's the issue they have to get through. They don't need like, oh, like a little eye pops up and all of a sudden Luke goes underwater. Like it is so it's just like when you say that they need to fix things, it's like, they were figuring it out as they went. And I love it. I love the Diagnoga. It's so weird, but like, it's just so like, yeah.
Well, you were saying before we recorded that you, there's no news today, right? Or is there?
There's no news.
There's no news today because you were trying to compile the news and there's no news, and you just saw a lot of ads like how you can fix X and how Star Wars can fix Y, and do things need fixing? And right now 1,000 voices are crying out the sequel trilogy, but I don't know how you feel, but I wouldn't call fixing anything. They are what they are. For me, though, beyond that, it's not fixing. It's just maybe further exploration into the stories that we got and fleshing out. It's not fixing. It's enhancing, I think, is what I would say.
That's what Star Wars is known for. Right?
Yeah.
You give this main story, but then around it, there's all these other little things. I mean, the biggest example is the prequels are spawned from one monologue in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like it's there's a difference between, like you said, fleshing out or expanding upon an idea and then fixing. Like people want them to reshoot the prequel or sequels. It's just like, why? Move on. Like, I think we all can agree. It's like, perhaps we just venture into new territory, which they've done with the Mandalorian. So it's like, that's working. Let's go with that.
I think we talked about this right before on, is that what Marvel does so well is because now WandaVision's over and it's, I don't know. I think it was mostly positive. I would say mostly positive, but people are like, blah, blah, blah. And those people don't have to worry because Falcon and the Soldier come out and this week is the making of WandaVision, which I'm very excited for because that's what I like. I think more of this stuff. But then, and I kind of wish there was more of the Mandalorian season 2 making of, but whatever, COVID. But then Falcon and Soldier that comes out next week. It's like, holy cracker jacks, man! Like. But the thing is, if you weren't happy with WandaVision, if you're like, Magneto didn't show up or all that stuff, if you're going to forget about that in 14 days because the Falcon and Bucky are showing up to make you forget that. And then when that happens, Loki's coming out. And they're just, it's such a well-oiled machine that, and if you like it, you'll go back to it. But if you don't have enough time to dwell on it like Star Wars fans do and hate it so much. But what you're saying about Mandalorian, what fascinates me about that too is everything is like, we got to get away from the Skywalkers. We got to get away from the Skywalker saga. But the Mandalorian is like, screw it. We're going right in the middle of the Skywalker saga. Because the Skywalker saga is nothing more than a name given by a company. It's a branding name by a company. That's it. In the Star Wars universe, it is just a period of time. And the thing that separates that period of time from 5,000 years after the Skywalker saga is we don't know what that galaxy looks like in 5,000 years. Is that galaxy even Star Wars at that point, or is it us? Like, I don't know. But so they threw it in here. They said, no, we're going to live in the world that you know, but we're going to tell stories separate from that and strip away the characters and the side characters that you know and insert new stuff in there, but it's still within that world. And I think that's one of the things that makes The Mandalorian story-wise so successful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would love to know when they started talking about the sequel movies and when they started talking about shows for Disney Plus.
Oh,
because
like
I guess
the sequel trilogy or
trilogy, like, okay, we're gonna make movies, and then at what point did they or forget that? Stop putting it like. Did they start talking to Favreau at roughly the same time as they were talking to J.J. Abrams and perhaps Ryan Will? Is that separate?
Very, very separate, yeah. I think, so from what I, out of my investigative reporting, which is not a thing, but I've read the Iger book and a whole ton of articles and stuff like that on everything. So what I've been gathering over time, so this is not really fresh in my mind, so bear with me a little bit and double fact check me if you want. So Lucas had no interest in selling to Disney, and Bob Iger approached him and said, hey, we want to buy you. And he said no. And then I think he had cold feet, and then he wanted more money at one point, and Iger said, we're not going to give you more money. He goes, yeah, but you paid a lot more for, I think it was Pixar. And he goes, yeah, but Pixar has a catalog and they have upcoming movies. You don't have anything. And I think it was at that point that he decided to kind of push his sequels forward a bit. So he's like, maybe if I have something, I can get more money. I think that's what the game plan was. And then when he started, I think he hired Michael Arndt and then Lawrence Kasdan to do Solo, or Michael Arndt. Anyway, whatever. And that was going on. He's like, hey, we're going to sell it, but this is the movies, it's the sequel movies that I want you to use. And they're like, whatever, maybe. And then he hired George Lucas hired Kathleen Kennedy before Disney bought Lucasfilm. And I think he hired Kathleen Kennedy so that he would have a say, because what happened was, if you remember when Disney bought Marvel, who was it? Was it like Avi Arad, I think, and somebody else were like top tier guys, and Kevin Feige was down here, and they were causing too much pushback to Disney, and Bob Iger's like, you guys are out, Feige, you're up. Because it's Disney's property. It's not Marvel anymore. It's Disney. And Star Wars and Lucasfilm is Disney, right? So that was the thing. It's like, you play by our rules. This is no longer yours anymore. And so they didn't want George Lucas around. And then they wanted... so they had the Michael Arndt thing. George Lucas was kind of hovering around because of Kathleen Kennedy. Then they went to J.J. Abrams. He said no. And then there was J.J. Abrams, Brad Bird. I think Favreau was also... There was like 4 or 5 directors that they were going for, but they really wanted Abrams. Then they got Abrams. They went Abrams, Johnson, and then Trevorrow. And then it was the Disney Plus thing, I want to say was 4 years after that.
Right. But did they ever actually have a conversation with Favreau about the movies? Not necessarily Mandalorian, but like...
he was in... I believe it was him, Bird, I think Matthew Vaughn, Abrams, and I feel like there was one other person. They were up for 7.
Right.
For 7. And it was a Michael Arndt script. I don't know how far those conversations would have gone, but clearly something struck. Like, it's Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy on some level. Something Star Wars struck with both of them in regards to each other, where Favreau obviously wanted to do it, and Kathleen Kennedy kept him in her back pocket. I mean, he's also, look, he did, everyone's like Iron Man 2, whatever, but he kind of is the reason, like, I believe he was a strong voice in getting Avengers going at one point. I think it's shifted away But I think at the beginning he was like really like, because Feige was like, we need to put Samuel L. Jackson in Iron Man. He said no. And then they figured out the end credit. Like that's how they created end credit scenes for the Marvel movies, was because they didn't know where to put Nick Fury in the first one, right? So I think whatever happened in that meeting, I don't know, but I think Kennedy viewed him as an asset. I think I wasn't there. I was working at a community TV channel.
The reason I ask is like not so much like they don't sit down. It's like, okay, so we're gonna like have a character named Rey, and then we're also gonna have a character named Mandalorian. Like, I feel like they enter into these conversations with directors and writers, and the idea of like, look, we want to do stuff in the future with Star Wars, and it's like they don't necessarily hear their idea, even if I'm sure that like, because like that's how Hollywood works. You go and you pitch and you pitch and you pitch, and like you pitch over and over again different things, and like only like 2 to 3 things out of the 15 or 20 things you pitch actually go anywhere, right? So I'm curious of like they're just like entering the conversation of like the future of the conversation is, do you have an idea for Star Wars? So it's like I often wonder, and I agree with what you said, like because Disney Plus wasn't like right off the bat an idea they were going with. I mean someday we'll find out when Disney Plus sort of like, or just a streaming service owned by Disney became like an actual thing in their conversations. But it's just like, I wonder if like the conversation of just with all these directors of like, give us a Star Wars idea. Perhaps I was like, if J.J. Abrams and Favreau entered that conversation, but then like it takes a while. So it's just like you have money, you're Disney, and you can just get anybody you want ideally if they say yes, right? Rose like, I also have an idea. It's like, well, we want JJ for this, but we're Disney and we just made $4 billion for Star Wars. Give us bring your idea. So it's like, I would love to know if like how close together. So it's like, if they both entered the same situation where it's like, what's your idea? It's like, you can crap on the sequel movies, but that was JJ's idea. And that was Ryan's idea. And then that was JJ's idea again. And then there's also Favreau's idea. They all could have succeeded or failed. It's like, that's what they wanted to make. So they made it. You know what I mean? So like, that's how I kind of start considering this whole thing. It's like, Favreau's idea could have been bad. It wasn't. And like, I'd argue JJ's idea isn't bad either. It's just JJ's idea. And if you've watched like what's the E.T. movie he did?
Super 8.
Super 8. It's like, this is a great movie. It kind of just ends. But
yeah,
like it's about like, I love Steven Spielberg, and like we've said this ad nauseum. It's like Force Awakens is like, I love George Lucas. Like, so it's like that was his idea, and that's not a terrible thing because we live in a world. We now as like 30-year-old men who are like in the forefront of their selling nostalgia is a big thing because we as consumers are like the Saturday morning cartoons generation, right? So like, yeah, you can release all these things. So it's like JJ's idea, as much as it's not as enthralling as Mandalorian is, perhaps, it's still going after that market of people love remembering. Right?
Yeah, the Mandalorian is all about that, you know, like, and I think that the Mandalorian is all about that, but I think it disguises it.
Yes.
I don't want to say
better.
Yeah, I don't know if it's better because I don't think The Force Awakens was trying to disguise it. You know, it was like it was just like, this is like you said, this is a love letter, right? Whereas Mandalorian is like, it's a love letter, but we're gonna also be something a little bit different, and I think it's those two elements that's really. But like you said last week, you know, look, I admittedly am not the biggest TV fan in terms of watching a lot of stuff, but TV has the one thing that films don't, and that is time. It is time. It is. Oh, this is. I mean, the episodes might be a half hour, but that's still 8 episodes for us, for the writers, and for us to learn your character and figure your character out, for them to grow. In a movie, you get that all at once. So, I think, TV, especially when it's weekly, you get each week and whatnot. So, the sequel trilogy, I would. You don't fix it. It definitely here's why you can't fix it anyway, is the problem that it had from the get-go was no one talked to each other. We all know that. That is like the most...
Yeah,
and I can't tell if they're proud of that or not. I think on one end it's kind of cool that they're like, you guys just make 3 different movies, and we'll see if they connect. But at the same time, it's like, but you knew you were doing 3 of them. Because everyone says like, well, George Lucas made them up. Yes, but also no. Because in like the original trilogy, sure, but he also had notes, and he could grab little details here, and then he made up things as he went along, for sure. Luke and Leia, brother and sister. I still kind of feel like Vader might have been thrown in there at one point. It might have been a note that he had, but I don't think in A New Hope Vader was Luke's father. But anyway, the prequels, though, he made them up as he went along. Like Jango Fett was never supposed to be in Attack of the Clones. He was never showing up in the second movie. I don't think that was the thing. But he still had the ending. He still had he had enough that they were made up. Whereas the sequels is what I talk about all the time ad nauseum, is just they just didn't have that why. And I think if there would have been through. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that, because you don't fix them, you enhance them, because the thing is, you have what they have. You have them, so now make it beautiful. You have your home, so now give me the garden behind your house. Give me the front porch. Give me a deck. That's what you can work on now. You don't fix it. You enhance it. You make it better. You give me a paint job, whatever. That's what George Lucas did with the original trilogy in the 90s. He's like, hey, look, Jabba the Hutt's in there. And we were like, and now 20 years after that, we all hate on that Jabba the Hutt. But at the time, that got our butts in the theater.
Absolutely. It's just weird. Because it's like, on top of all that is just people talking on the internet, or like theorizing things on the internet based on like a flash of something in a trailer, or like WandaVision. We've experienced it where it's like, it could be Mephisto, or Doctor Strange is somewhere, or Reed Richards is somewhere, and it's just like, that affects how you think. Because it's like, the finale of WandaVision, I'm like, oh, this didn't happen. I'm like, well, why did it have to happen like that? That's because I've been listening to too much talk. Look, I like theorizing too. And it's fun. It's just like, it's getting out of hand, where it's like, would you be satisfied if it's like, oh, it was the devil all along? And it's like, I don't hate it. But at the same note, it's like, I don't like when the internet guesses what's going to happen.
Well, also when they claim they see leak. Here's the thing though with Mephisto or Mephisto. How do you say it?
Mephisto. I don't know.
I say every name wrong and I get yelled at. Yeah. Anyway, so here's the thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. But the thing is, you can't be disappointed that character is not in that show, because that character does not exist in the MCU.
Yeah.
The character does not exist in the movies. And if the character also was like, it's been me, you're like, well, who are you? That was the things that annoy me the most, subtly annoy me, was Agatha being Agnes. It's like, well, why? Like, she could have just been Agatha. First of all, everyone guessed that it was Agatha. And then
from like the trailer.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, no one in the MCU knows who Agatha is, so it's not like her changing her name does anything to the characters. It's not like Wanda was like, well, I hope Agatha's not here. It was like, she's just like, And then the other thing was, Evan Peters' casting was simply to deceive everybody. Which, the boner joke, I'm not sure if it's a boner joke or if it's a play on growing pains. I still haven't figured out what that is yet. Yeah, that's what I still haven't figured that out. But to me, that was their biggest sin, was that was a lie. So that one I can see people be pissed off. I don't think it would ruin the show for me, the Evan Peters thing. It would be like, well, that was dumb. Like, you lied. I don't like it when you're deceiving the viewer. Like, you trick and you play around and stuff. But a flat out lie I don't like. Agatha was weird, but whatever. But it was just like, a friend of mine was like, Nightmare's showing up, but it's going to be Mark Hamill. And I'm like, did you get that because he voiced the character in a Spider-Man cartoon? And as the internet is running with this now, because he's been credited as the character. That character, again, Brock, does not exist in the MCU. So there's no reason to believe that that character is showing up.
Yeah. It's like, the rabbit is somebody. He calls the rabbit Daniel Scratch. And in the comics, there's a John Scratch that's their son. And
Nick Scratch.
Sorry.
Get it right.
That's how a bunch of characters is. But, like, here's the thing. I'll stay positive. Those theories are fun. I'm like,
they're great.
That's cool. It is affecting, like, words like, oh. I'm like, come on. Like, they were talking about Wonder Man being in it, which, like,
oh, really?
Totally understandable. Throw a Wonder Man in there. Doesn't really make sense to the story. Does Wonder Man interact with Scarlet Witch and the Vision in the comics? Absolutely. It's like Vision and Wonder Man actually have like a connection in like.
But
Wonder Man, I believe, because he wasn't a superhero. I believe I can't remember. No, he was a superhero, and then anyways, I believe his brainwaves are actually used by Ultron to create Vision. I think I could be totally wrong because then people are gonna call me out on this, but whatever. It's just like in the comics, yeah, it makes sense. And then they're all on the West Coast Avengers, blah 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 blah. So like, sure, but like, where are you getting this from? Like, it's just like, would it be cool to see Wonder Man? Absolutely. I am an Avengers stan, so like, White Vision showing up was like, yeah. But like, like. I think what's crucial, like, this is a Star Wars thing, we're talking about WandaVision, but
I think it affects Star Wars though, or they're connected.
One, it exists. That's crazy. And two, it's just like that felt like a limited series. Like, oh, that's a fun idea. Like, yeah, Scarlet Witch is supposed to go crazy at some point and interact with Doctor Strange. So like her looking like she's having a mental breakdown would work. That's how the movies ended. But like it always felt to me like a limited series. Now at the end of that finale, I'm like, they could do a second season. Like there's a world here that they've created that can just exist in the TV and occasionally seep into the movies. Like, so it's like that's awesome. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, no,
to bring it back to Star Wars, what is the Luke Skywalker moment that
there wasn't? So the Luke Skywalker, we were following, but here was the thing: if you read the interview, they just the interviewer asked her a question about whatever, and she goes, "Well, something's coming. I can't believe it hasn't leaked." And I think she's referring to Evan Peters or White Vision. Yeah. I'm guessing White Vision though, because that's Evan Peters there. But because Evan Peters leaked, I believe, but White Vision didn't. But the thing is, then the interviewer and like their headline or whatever, the article twisted it to the Luke Skywalker moment. She never said it. And then Paul Bettany is my hero when he was like, it's an actor I've wanted to work with for 30 years. And people are like, it's Al Pacino. It's that. And you're like, and then he's like, oh, they're going to be so disappointed when they find out it's me. And that's...
Truthfully, if you were watching my face as you started talking on this thought process, I was like, oh, he was working with himself. I'm like,
yeah, that's what I guessed last week after we saw White Vision. I'm like, was it just him? And then they have like the best scene in the entire series together. Yeah. And it's like, I'm like this. So that was but again, I didn't actually, so I read the Elizabeth Olsen, Luke Skywalker, quote unquote thing. I didn't read the Paul Bettany one. But I heard that he kind of said it in passing. Like he wasn't like, you're going to lose your mind when you see the cameo. He was just like, oh yeah, there's an actor coming up. You're going to love it. Like it seemed, he probably said it tongue in cheek. But God bless him, because that was tremendous. Also, Uncle Frank, the movie on Amazon Prime, he is fantastic in. So all you White Vision stans, go watch that. But how this ties into Star Wars, really, aside from the Luke Skywalker one, is it hasn't actually affected Mandalorian too much, but I feel like as the show goes on and now, and I think the reason why it didn't affect it too much early on is because it was so disconnected from everything Star Wars we've known so far. But now that we're getting in, Darksaber's there, Mandalore is who knows what it is. Like, we're going to start to get more into the lore, and now, Bo-Katan showed up, Ahsoka showed up, Luke showed up. Now it's like, I think this third season that's coming up, maybe even Book of Boba Fett will feel it. I don't think maybe Obi-Wan is. The theories on Obi-Wan were like, Sergeant Ventress has been got, and it's like, oh my god, we're gonna go down this Mephisto path again, and that's where it becomes dangerous. It's you have fun, and you tell yourself, like, wouldn't it be cool if Darth Maul showed up and fought Obi-Wan in a dream sequence, and they were on a cloud, and like, yeah, that's a great idea. It's probably not going to happen. So when it doesn't happen, don't hate the show when it doesn't happen.
I remember being 7 and having those same ideas. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if Superman fought like Wolverine? Yeah, of course. That sounds amazing. And Darth Vader was there. Like, yeah. Please make that.
I think look, you got to remember the worlds and the MCU is tough because it's all everything, right? So it does, I guess, make sense that Reed Richards would show up even though he doesn't exist in the MCU. You know that character's whatever, you know what I mean? Like it, and like the multiverse thing you could throw in because it's Doctor Strange 2 is called the Multiverse of Madness, so you kind of believe it. But when it doesn't happen that way, I don't know. I just remember when I was younger watching movies and people would be like, that movie was good, but wouldn't it have been better if it was about this? And you're like, but that's not what the movie was about. Yeah. Like we have to stop judging something on your 7-year-old brain, Superman versus Wolverine, and start judging it on what we have. And again, that doesn't mean you have to like it. That doesn't mean you have to hate it. That means you have to judge something on what it is, not on what it was or what it could have been or anything like that.
It's the problem, right? Like, it's like, oh, this one movie I watched when I was young was amazing. So everything after it just as amazing. I'm like, well, not necessarily. And it's just like, and I guess that's the problem Marvel and Star Wars have ongoing. It's like they have to outdo themselves over and over and over again. And it's just like, for what the creators, they make, this is new, this is outstanding. I thought this was very, very good. And you're like, well.
You know what's frustrating is WandaVision. The concept was really cool. Like, they're trapped in a sitcom and they don't know why. And like I was like when they like WandaVision's coming, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's see what this is. And the thing is, the concept is a high concept, is really cool. You got 2 solid actors in the leads, and then you got pretty good supporting cast. I thought everybody in the supporting cast, like Catherine Hahn's amazing and everything, and Evan Peters was really good. The only thing I can't figure out is his Vision's boss just disappeared from the town. But anyway, whatever. Is like, did they explain that, or did he just vanish? Like, did they just forget the actor just wasn't available one day?
Was that guy like Bob Balaban, or no? That's somebody else. But like, it's like, it was, who was the boss? Wasn't it the dude from like the annoying guy from Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
What's that guy's name?
No, it wasn't him. No.
Who was it?
I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. He's an actor. He's in a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. But like Debra Jo Rupp is like 4th in like the credits for every episode, and she only has like really her largest part is in the first episode, and then like she has 2 lines in the last episode. But like, I mean, good for her. Yeah, she deserves to be like. You think like I don't know, if you're not in the episode, you really shouldn't be in the credits, or at least the initial credits.
Well, it's the contract, I guess. But
oh, absolutely.
What I'm getting at though is the concept was really cool, and that what got, I think my favorite, the episode I liked the most was, I think it was like the 4th or 5th episode, when the reverse snap happened, and they kind of were like, this is what's going on. And I was like, oh, okay, this is like the puzzle now. Like, we got the puzzle. We have the pieces to the puzzle. Let's all start putting together. And that's when I was like the episodes before were whatever, but this is when I was like, this is what I've been waiting for this show, right? Like, this is what that trailer kind of got me, and blah, blah. And then, instead of people being fascinated by figuring this out. It's like, well, it's going to be Mephisto, and it's going to be Nightmare, and it's going to be Reed Richards, and it's going to be Beast, and it's going to be Iceman. Oh. And you're just like, wait, but like, and then at the end of the show ends, and the show was like, no, but you were supposed to actually just like the show. Like, I felt like they were like, is it, I don't know, like, you're supposed to just like the show. And again, if you like the show, you like it. If you don't, you don't, whatever. That's not the point. The point is you like the show for what it is. And now what? Every time they make a Marvel show, they're just going to be like, well, if we just throw in this random character from issue 161 of Uncanny X-Men, throw that guy in and people will lose their minds. Like, that's going to get boring very fast. You have to have creative storylines and structure. Because, cameos are fun, but they're not everything. Like Luke Skywalker, great moment. Bo-Katan, fun. Yeah. Evan Peters, until the boner joke, great. But that's not, that cannot be a make or break. If The Mandalorian season 2 is only good because of Luke Skywalker, that's a massive fail on The Mandalorian season 2. Massive fail. And it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, and somehow this social media world we live in just wants the gimmick. And yet they get mad at Burger King for gimmicking a tweet.
I don't know. It is bizarre. I don't know. I think WandaVision is also a bad example because, like, it really relies, especially the first couple episodes, that you have seen all the other Marvel movies. Like,
yes,
you can't be like, this is a good show. I mean, I guess you could watch it and just sort of piece things together, but like, I think you would get lost until like the 5th episode. I could be wrong. See, I'm now that it's done, I want to hear people's experience that haven't watched it episodically and just binge it. And I want it because I know a couple people that haven't watched it yet. I'm like, oh, please take 4 hours out of your life and just watch the whole thing because they're so short, those episodes. So it's like, whoa. But like, yeah, I think that is one thing you can give to like these people doing theories where it's like, this relies on you knowing what happens in the movies. Therefore, it's like, as much as it is a separate thing, it's like it does kind of exist in that thing. So I'm whatever. But I'm not just trying. On the same note, it's like, you're right. Like, it's just like it for the sake of like, we don't have much right now. We can't go outside. We can't get people in the mouth. All we have is drive-through, takeout, and Disney Plus. Yeah. So if you get new content, which God bless you, Bob Iger, Kathleen Kennedy, whoever is, I think it's Michael
Chopek now.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for like, is it new Marvel content every week for hopefully the rest of the year, or just Disney Plus new?
I think Marvel ends whenever Loki ends.
Yeah. So
but does that mean that Cassian Andor is coming out right after that?
I heard through the grapevine that like there's going to be new content if there's no delays on anything, new content every week for the rest of the year. I'm like,
well, what's content though?
Yeah, I'm all like, probably a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but
which I like.
Yeah, I like it too.
I love watching them.
Like, we sit here and like theorize, like, oh, what were their thought processes, and then you get delivered like the gallery or what is this one called? Assembled.
Yeah.
Assembled.
WandaVision, by the way, the WandaVision show had the best poster of any Marvel, I think. Any Marvel movie. The WandaVision show, the poster for the show, where they're like half black and white, half color, and then like the squiggly lines. Oh, yeah. Best poster. And the poster for this Assemble show is awesome too, where you got like the film aperture and everything. It looks rad. I'm like, nice. I like this. I love these behind the scenes shows. I can't wait to see this one. I like I said, I really wish we got more of the Mandalorian season 2 because they didn't touch on the Luke Skywalker moment at the end at all.
Yeah.
Like at all. And
surprising.
And also I would really like to hear more from Peyton Reed. I think Rodriguez we're going to get more because he's doing Boba Fett, but I want to hear more about Peyton Reed because I thought he brought a lot to it. He did a stellar job.
Did they interview? I can't even remember.
Yeah, he did the second episode too, so he's interviewed throughout, and then they kind of go into the finale, but I think it cuts out. Like, you're like, oh, now they're getting into Luke, and then they cut out. And I was like, oh, all right.
Maybe they were afraid that they would, if they,
I
would assume do the doc during, so they wanted these like even like I reported like Katie Sackhoff didn't even know.
Yeah, no, it was probably that's what I think too. It's probably due to that, but there's something there. Like there is definitely a behind the scenes there that we could watch people talk about bringing Luke Skywalker to the Mandalorian, because there was an actor on set portraying him. Then there's Mark Hamill, and then Mark Hamill, I think he said he did it like a year before it came out, right? Like he did it a long time before it came out. So yeah, Mark Hamill. Then you have the animators animating Mark Hamill. Then you have the actors on set who had no idea that it was good. Like you have all this. There's so much material there that I would just love to hear them talk about. And, and even like Favreau being like, well, we didn't know right away it was going to be Luke Skywalker. The story took us there. I'm like, I want to hear that more. I want to just want.
Sure.
That's what I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. So. Whatever. You want to go to the odds?
Let's do it.
Sir, the possibility of successfully navigating an asteroid field is approximately 3,720 to 1.
Never tell me the odds.
Never tell me the odds. That brought to you by Patreon. I'm singing this song because my Hotmail's not open and I need to know a list of people I think are great. And why is it taking so long? Because I know some of the names.
Look, I'm very upset that you're going to try to take away my Hollow News theme song, but...
Hollow News.
I won't be singing that this week.
Oh, right now, the Hollow News. See, like, I feel like because of WandaVision and all their awesome, like, openings that are, like, nods to old TV themes. I keep making songs up in my head. Patreon.com. That's where you can go and support us. We try our best. We're just here to have a few laughs and talk a little Star Wars. So why don't you head on down to patreon.com/Rebel Scum Podcast and check out our tiers. We got some content if you want to support us, and it can be all yours. You can be one of these wonderful people that we like to call our Patreon. Heidi Feder, executive producer, Barry Brophy, Dennis Allen, Randy Kenobi, Mary Kristen Athon, Jeff Wilson, Phil Staniforth, Sooner Thrawn, Scott D, Josh Price, Matt W.
Hold on, I'm tweeting. Rez, Frank Perkins, Neil Lowry, D. Raven Spencer, Cosmic Girl 02, Gleek Play 1, Disney Desi, Charlotte, Kayla Davis, Aaron Quinton, Jericho Kane, Dana Nerds, and the Girls with Sabers. I'm tweeting a picture of us.
Oh, you went into the cesspool.
Well, you gotta stay in there. There's some good people in there.
Sure.
Like, look, if I'd be lying if I didn't say that we've muted and blocked half of Twitter.
When you send me a link to Twitter, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Look, Twitter is the worst but it should be the best. I keep maintaining that. It's like, what it is if for some reason we use it for evil. It's like, oh my God. Use it for good, not evil. No, we're mankind, and we will ruin everything we touch. Mwahaha. That's how I go. But thank you to all our Patreon. You guys make our dreams come true.
Yeah.
I like that song. Ooh, ooh, ooh. What I want. Hall & Oates. First odd. The odds Bo-Katan will appear and play a factor in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Yes, what? I know. That's why it's in here, because we just were talking about it. That's why it's in here, to piss everyone off, including you.
What do you mean a factor?
She'll play a role. Like, she won't just be like, "Hi, Obi-Wan." She'll be in the show. She'll kill someone. And if it doesn't happen, we will both hate the Obi-Wan show.
Oh, absolutely. That's 100%. It's like, oh, that's not what I expected. I think 70%. I mean, there's the woman that was cast last week. Everyone's kind of thinking she could be Duchess Satine. So it's like, you got Katie Sackhoff. Perhaps you throw in a Bo-Katan. So then, like, people that don't know Clone Wars, I'll be like, oh, okay. It's just kind of a genius move, because then you can show the Mandalorians pre-Clone Wars or during Clone Wars or however you want to, without knowing the cartoon, you can learn about it. So, yeah, I'm gonna go 75%. Like she's on the payroll.
I think. Well, from Rogue One on, I've been hoping that they've had threads weaving in and out of all this stuff, and like you said, you've got her there. She nerds out over it. She's like, her dream apparently is to meet Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill's like, "I'll meet you." I'm going to go 71% as well. Just like she plays a role in Obi-Wan's life.
Mm-hmm.
Just
I can't remember if like they interact in the show. They must.
Either way, if she's not in it, I'm not going to care.
Yeah.
But I would like to see it because, again, you have the characters. And the thing with The Mandalorian is now you have this foundation of the live action foundation because, now they're kind of mixing the animated with live action, but the live action foundation is set. She's a part of that. Why not have all of your live action, I don't want to say connect, but they all take place in the same galaxy at different times. But if you could put them in little blotches here and there, why not do it? Our next odd, either the Cassian Andor show or the Book of Boba Fett, we will have teasers for on May 4th. We will either get a teaser for the Andor show or Book of Boba Fett on May the 4th. Be with you.
I'm going to go 90%. It's like, I can't remember, like, have they released stuff on May the 4th in the past? I can't remember.
No, last year they gave us the behind the scenes of the Mandalorian show. And this year we're getting Bad Batch.
Right. On May the 4th?
Yeah. Episode 1, May the 4th.
Yes. I'm so psyched. No, I think it would be nice, but if there's going to be a trailer for anything, it's one of these two shows.
Oh, yeah. No, if I thought there was a chance for another one, I would have put it. But I think these are the only two that will have footage by that point.
Yeah, I'm going to go, what did I say, 80%?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go 63. We're saying positive this week. I like being positive. And our final odd, the odds that Mephisto will be the big bad in the Cassian Andor show. Well, Mephisto... it's funny though when every YouTube video was that yellow circle with an arrow. Mephisto spotted. I love it. And our final odd, Rey Skywalker will return, but not in a film. Will Rey Skywalker appear on Disney Plus, live action, not animated?
Wait, what? It will return, but
not in a film on a series Disney Plus. And just not animated. It's got to be live action.
Oh, so like in a show.
Daisy Ridley will play live action Rey again, but not in a motion picture in theater.
I was going to go 100%. It's like, she's going to put her in a comic. 65%.
Wow.
She said something about Grogu, and I was like,
people
are bored in pandemic days.
I hate it when they're like, would you ever play Rey again? She's like, yeah. Like,
sure.
But I don't know. I've seen so many journalists now asking these questions, and it's just like, this is what happens when you let, YouTubers, no offense to us, become journalists. They start asking really bad questions, and the world goes to hell. I saw a thing where they believe, there's some people think that press junkets are just going to be like, go bye-bye. Bye-bye. They're useless. They ask the same questions. It's like there's all garbage press now.
Yeah, and it's just like...
You could do it over Zoom in 4 hours.
Yeah, and like then anyone could ideally get into it. It's like, well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go 41. I'm gonna go negative on this one. 41. I think if she does return, it will be cinematic. But again, who the heck knows what's coming up on Disney Plus in the future? Because I would like a post sequel trilogy show, or I would like to see what happens in the galaxy after the sequel trilogy. Because it's fascinating time. Like say what you want about Palpatine's return, But when you think about it, from the beginning of the prequels to the end of the sequels, it's basically Palpatine ruining the galaxy. And now absolutely. for the first time, aside from like High Republic, you have a time where like the galaxy is now rid of this thing. How does it operate? So, but anyway, you don't have the news today.
I have no news. Here's the news. Someone made a comic of
this Trevorrow script.
Colin Trevorrow's script. So there it is.
Holla news. All right.
It's exciting, and also I am A New Hope Princess Leia. That's the other news. I guess that worked out. That's probably why StarWars.com put it up, because it is International Women's Day.
Yeah, that's why.
Thanks.
I like, which Jyn Erso are you? Child Jyn Erso, Felicity Jones Jyn Erso, or fried on Scarif Jyn Erso?
Pile of ash.
By the way, she also said she would return, because who wouldn't want to return? And I'm all for more. I like all those characters. I know Rogue One, people were like, Rogue One, the characters stink. I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like every single character in Rogue One, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. But I'm not a real Star Wars fan.
Yeah, you're a shell for Disney.
I am.
You're on the payroll.
Big time on the payroll. I am also Mephisto.
Oh, I knew it.
Yeah, if you watch I Am the Fly on the curtains.
I know you're a busy man, but if you could put that circle around you right now in post-editing with the arrow, it's like, Mephisto!
How Mephisto showed up at Star Wars Mandalorian Season 3.
In Rebel Scum podcast.
I honestly, I can't wait for Mephisto to show up in the Snyder Cut. All right, top 5.
Top 5.
Top 5 what? Mephisto moments. You got
Mephisto mints.
Ooh, that actually sounds like a brand of mints. But they'd be like cinnamon hearts. Mephisto mints.
When life is getting you down, why don't you sell your soul to Mr. Mephisto?
Oh man, they totally missed out on a Mephisto theme song.
Disney, hire us. James and I will quarantine for 2 weeks and then move to, or I guess they're in LA. I was going to say, for some reason, I think Disney is just automatically in Florida.
No, but we'll go to LA. Disney parks are opening, I think, again, April 3rd or something.
Disney World is open.
No, but I think it's like, one of them's opening wide, though. It's like going to be like, everyone in, let's go.
I think, California's been closed like the whole time.
So that one's opening up April 3rd. No, I know, because our good friend Disney Desi has been going. And it's warmer there than here also, by the way.
Yeah, it bums me out because I've always it's the arts festival at Epcot, and they have Frushi, which is fruit sushi. And I'm like, ooh, I want to try that.
What would be the rice on a fruit sushi?
I don't know. I've looked at it. I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's like a little like a custard.
Lychee?
Sort of.
Is it lychee?
Lychee would work, but it looks like it's like pieces of like melon or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Lego or something. So maybe it's like a cold custard thing.
But the custard kind of that ruins the health factor of it. You could just make yourself a fruit salad. I was there for the Food and Wine Festival, which when you're at a Food and Wine Festival with Aaron, leave your wallet at the door.
Cannot wait.
Top 5 Rey moments. We're going to do top 5 Rey moments. Why not? What moment I really liked by Rey was when she's floating with the rocks at the beginning of the Rise of Skywalker. Haters gonna hate, but I thought that was very cool because she was really learning the Force. It was a moment. I kind of fil like that was JJ's be like, well, this is how I want Luke to be in Force Awakens. Now I'm gonna make it Rey, but it looked really cool with Rey, and it's one of those things where you see fan art like of Luke doing that, and to see it in a movie was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a cheesy moment, but I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it last. It's the end of Last Skywalker or Last Skywalker, Return, Rise of Skywalker, the Return of the Mac. Just like the Tatooine scene. Mostly, I just love Rey and BB-8 walking into the double sunrise. Like that, just like, yes, give me another movie. It's amazing how one little thing is like, yes, give me more. I mean, because it looks like we're going into the frontier to adventure. But then, of course, Rey Skywalker and then the lightsabers going into the sand and Ghost Leia and Luke. That's good too. But that moment, I love them walking into the Rising's double suns.
My number 4 is Rey Skywalker. That whole moment. And when she took the name, I know people get mad. Like, I like Rey. Nobody. That's fine. But that was never happening. And also, the thing is, she was a Palpatine, sure. But she was really... The thing is, she was Rey no one. And then she rejects Palpatine. And then she takes the name of the only family she ever knew, even though... Whatever. But... I like that moment. It was. I also think I predicted it like a month before the movie came out, so I kind of whatever. Yeah, I was on Around the Galaxy podcast. You can listen to it, and I believe I say that after because Pete sent me a message saying "you son of a gun." He didn't use those words, but I was like, I just for like look watching. I know people hate it, but watching when I watched Force Awakens and Last Jedi before seeing that movie. It just felt like the movie was going to end on Tatooine with her being Rey Skywalker. And it played out that way. And you can hate it all you want. But I thought it was a great moment. And just the Skywalker saga is over. Let's move on.
My number 4 is also a final Rey scene. This one being in Last Skywalker. I like
The Last Jedi. Which she is the last Skywalker too. So.
the last where like she arrives on Crate and then moves all the rocks so that they can escape on the Millennium Falcon. Like I like that because you're like that scene. That was another scene where we're like, I think we spent a couple episodes just talking about like, oh, that's awesome. She's like in control of the Force and no.
And it plays into it's more than just moving rocks.
Yeah.
Which again plays into my number 5 moment where she's moving rocks. It seems like Rey is really into what Luke said the Force is not about. No, great moment.
It's just a cool looking scene. It's like just revealed and she's there. It's not her and Luke. I know Luke's not there anyways, but you know what I mean? Like it's just like
it's a wild moment. So, yeah, I agree. I don't have it on here, but I like that she stole the Jedi, the sacred text. My number 3, this was the first time we ever saw Rey, and that's when she's scavenging in the old Star Destroyer in the Force Awakens. That in the trailer when we saw that was super cool. When she's in the Death Star and Rise of Skywalker is really cool, but this moment in the old Star Destroyer because it was. I remember when that trailer dropped, you're like, oh man, the Star Destroyer in the background, it's so Star Wars, like the remnants of stuff, and just her in there is like, there was something unique and special about that moment, and it was really like, oh, this is a Star Wars movie again, even though that's like 15 minutes into the movie we already got Finn, which was awesome, but whatever. That moment was fantastic.
It's a perfect example of how she's a Mary Sue. She's like she's just happening upon all these things that she can trade in while like living a luxurious life in the desert.
I thought she was going to be Mephisto, but that was me.
That's your mistake. My number 3 is also from A New Hope, Force Awakens. It's one of the moments I love. Just in general, it's when her and Finn are running. Yes. From TIE Fighter, and they're like, it was like, we need a pilot. We have one. It's like, who? Me. It's like, let me go. I always love that. I've always commented on like. He like grabs her, like, let go of me, like, let's go. Like, I am not a princess for you to save.
And that the reintroduction to the Millennium Falcon is fantastic.
And that too, like just everything about it is great.
My number 2, Rey versus her granddaddy, She VP. And I am all the Jedi.
My number 2 is basically that too. I just like her hearing the Jedi.
Yes.
In the
Well, that's
that. Which is like, I guess it's like not necessarily a Rey moment, but she's hearing it. So.
Well, it is because they're speaking to her to strengthen her.
But that whole, as much as I don't like the inclusion of Palpatine as like he's the problem, like that scene makes it worth it because it's like, oh, this is very cool. Like,
yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
My number one, Rey and Kylo versus the Praetorian Guards.
Oh,
did I cheap out by adding?
Why am I surprised?
Yeah, I know. It's well, there's the fight is great, but you know her getting tortured by Snoke, and then refusing Kylo at the end, and then the Anakin Luke Rey saber, whatever the hell you want to call it, breaking in half. Like there's just so much in that sequence of events that I absolutely love, and that's my number one Rey moment. And if you disagree, I don't care. Everyone has a top 5, and you let me know what yours is. Whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Put it in the comments. Hit it up in the chat. My number 1 is also a Kylo and Rey moment. Mine from Force Awakens. Look, I got it right that time. Force Awakens, when they're fighting on Murder Planet in the snow forest, and just the lightsaber fight, because it's like, is it really the first time you see Rey with a lightsaber? Yeah, right?
Yeah, because she rejects it earlier.
Yeah. But what I liked about that is specifically when they're dueling, and then all of a sudden she sort of has that look on her face that we're like, is she using the dark side? Why? How is she all of a sudden stronger than him? Like, I like that look because it's just like so ambiguous but so meaningful. You're like, ooh, I like where this is going. So like, and of course, like, there's nothing better than like the blue of her lightsaber,
yeah,
and the red of Kylo's on the faces is just like, wow.
No, great moment. And when it's on snow, it looks like Christmas lights.
Yeah, makes me feel like Christmas on Murder Planet.
Christmas was probably great on Starkiller Base. Till it got blown up. 206 episodes of the Rebel Scum podcast.
Never forget.
Yeah, it was Agatha all along.
It was Agatha all along.
What
All
was
the
it?
news.
Somehow, like we got to an hour without even doing the news today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's because we ranted about Nightmare and Mephisto. People, that's all the comments are gonna be like, I don't know. I think we say it every time we go see a Star Wars movie now, but leave your expectations at the door. Enjoy what you like, and theories are a lot of fun. It's a lot, so much fun to discuss. Like, oh, do you think this could happen? This could happen. Oh, and then when it doesn't happen, we shouldn't be like, oh man, missed opportunities. We should be like, oh, they went a different direction. And I think it's always funny when we completely get a theory wrong. We're like, wow, where were their heads at? Like, because like all of our heads were here, but their heads were there. Like that, like, you know, there's a reason why they're writing it and we're not. I don't know what that reason is, but there's a reason.
But who were the people in the commercials in WandaVision? Never resolved.
Darcy also doesn't like goodbyes.
Yeah, that's just true.
Speaking of goodbyes, I think it's time for us to say goodbye, Brock.
So long, farewell. Make sure you like our podcast.
Give us a like and a subscribe.
Long, make sure to smash the bell.
That's how we should start. I'm putting that at the beginning of the show. I'm editing it and placing it at the top.
Like, subscribe, and make sure to smash the bell. James, thank you for being a friend and doing a podcast. I bid you adieu.
206 episodes. Thanks for watching, everybody. Give us a like and subscribe. I'm James. He's Brock, and he was always.
For the remote Mohicans.
That's because you were always scum.
Rebel Scum.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.